What if I told you your entire life could change with just one decision made at 4 a.m.? Imagine this. While the world is sleeping, someone is quietly building a life you dream about. No noise, no excuses, just discipline. This is the story of a man who was tired of being average, tired of waiting, and decided to take control. But here's the truth. What he did wasn't easy. In fact, most people would quit on day one. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a push today. And in the comments, tell me, what time do you wake up every day? Because this story might just inspire you to change that. Now, let's get started. David Miller lived in the restless rhythm of Chicago, where every day felt like a repeat of the last. His alarm rang at 7:30 a.m., followed by endless snoozes, until panic forced him out of bed. Rushed mornings, cold coffee, and crowded trains became his routine. At work, he watched others grow while he remained stuck, silently blaming time, luck, and circumstances. Deep down, he knew the truth. He lacked discipline. Every night, he told himself tomorrow would be different, that he would wake up earlier, work harder, and chase his dreams. But when morning came, comfort always won. One freezing winter morning, everything changed. David arrived late to an important meeting where a major promotion was being discussed. As he stood outside the glass room, watching a colleague take the opportunity he had hoped for, a heavy realization hit him. It wasn't bad luck, it was his habits. That moment stayed with him all day, replaying in his mind like a painful reminder. For the first time, he stopped making excuses. That night, sitting alone in his small apartment, he made a decision that felt uncomfortable yet powerful. He would wake up at 4 a.m. The next morning tested every ounce of his willpower. When the alarm rang, it felt unnatural, almost impossible. His body was heavy, his mind filled with excuses. Just 5 more minutes. You need rest. Start tomorrow instead. But something inside him refused to give in. Slowly he sat up, his eyes barely open, his muscles resisting every movement. There was no excitement, no sudden burst of motivation, only a quiet, stubborn commitment. He stood up, feeling the cold floor beneath his feet, and in that moment, he chose discipline over comfort. That early morning was silent and unfamiliar. The world outside was still asleep, and for the first time David felt ahead of it. He made a simple cup of coffee and sat down, unsure of what to do next. There was no perfect plan, no grand vision, just a man trying to keep a promise to himself. He started small, reading a few pages of a book, organizing his thoughts, reflecting on his goals. It wasn't impressive, but it was different. It was intentional. For the first time in years, he felt in control of his morning instead of being controlled by it. That single morning didn't transform his life overnight. His job was the same, his problems still existed, and success was nowhere in sight. But something subtle had shifted within him. He had proven to himself that he could do something hard, something uncomfortable. That one act of discipline planted a seed, a quiet belief that change was possible. And though he didn't realize it yet, that small victory at 4 a.m. was the beginning of a new identity, one built not on motivation, but on consistent, daily discipline. Weeks turned into months, and David refused to break his 4 a.m. promise. Every morning, while Chicago still slept under dim streetlights, he showed up for himself. At first, progress felt invisible. The workouts were tiring, the books were challenging, and learning new skills tested his patience. Some mornings were harder than others, especially after long workdays, but he reminded himself why he started. Discipline became his anchor when motivation faded. Instead of chasing quick results, he focused on consistency. Day by day, he built a routine that no longer depended on how he felt, but on what he had committed to becoming. As time passed, the changes within him became undeniable. His mind felt sharper, clearer, more focused than ever before. At work, he no longer felt like an outsider watching others succeed. He contributed ideas, solved problems faster, and carried himself with quiet confidence. His energy was different and people began to notice. Opportunities that once seemed distant slowly moved within reach. His boss started trusting him with bigger responsibilities. For David, it wasn't sudden success. It was earned progress. The small disciplined mornings were now shaping the person he presented to the world every single day. The biggest transformation wasn't external, it was internal. David no longer saw himself as someone stuck or unlucky. He became someone reliable, someone who followed through. His confidence didn't come from praise or results, but from knowing he could trust himself. Even on difficult days, he showed up. That trust changed everything. Fear of failure slowly disappeared because he understood that effort was always in his control. He stopped comparing himself to others and focused only on improving daily. The early mornings gave him clarity, and that clarity gave him direction in every area of his life. Eventually, his efforts led to real, visible success. Within months, David earned the promotion he once thought was out of reach. But this time it felt different. It wasn't luck and it wasn't timing. It was preparation meeting opportunity. His mornings had become his secret weapon, a time where he invested in himself before the world demanded anything from him. What once felt painful now felt powerful. Waking up at 4 a.m. was no longer a struggle. It was a habit, a lifestyle, a choice that gave him an edge others didn't have. Years later, David's life looked completely different. But his routine remained the same. When people asked about his success, expecting a complex answer, he simply smiled. He told them it wasn't talent or intelligence that changed his life. It was the decision to act when he didn't feel like it. Discipline, not motivation, became his foundation. He understood that motivation is temporary, but discipline is dependable. And in the end, success didn't belong to the most gifted. It belonged to those who showed up consistently, especially on the days when it felt the hardest to even begin.